Welcome, everybody.
Hi there.
Everything's late. Nobody dies. Episode 59.
Lucky 59.
Lucky 59. Kicking
Almost
off the
missed
new
it.
year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Kicking it right off of the.
there you go.
Uh-huh.
This is our little podcast about comic books, all things pop culture. If your mother is named Martha, this might be the podcast for you. Martha, where did you hear that name?
I heard it from my mom's Martha. We should quit fighting.
Like when I first saw that, I thought that was like the coolest, like wake up.
What'd you put up there?
Oh, click, click, boom.
Oh, okay.
So
I was like, what does that have to do with Martha?
it doesn't have anything to do with Martha.
Sweet. Don't you dare touch my knee today.
Doug knew somebody named Martha. I don't know.
Where'd you hear that?
I'm promoting local Utah creators, and of course, Mr. Doug Wagner being
Mr.
one
Doug.
of them.
Mr. Doug.
Mr. Doug.
Yeah. Love Mr. Doug.
He recently did Marvel Zombies.
Mm-hmm.
It has a little story in there that he was extremely proud of,
Mm-hmm.
and we are proud for him.
Absolutely.
Hey,
hey.
Paige Alfred, writer of Blowtorch.
Hey.
It's actually a really
saying
cool
hey
book.
back. Don't you interrupt me.
Bad Roses.
It's not your show. It's our show.
Full of art.
There you go.
But yeah, Doug's doing great things.
Yes.
The Click Click Boom was supposed to be out in a trade paperback this week.
It's supposed to, wasn't it?
And he's promoting it heavily over on his Facebook and Instagram and all other social medias. But it didn't show up.
No, it didn't.
Now, is that nationwide that it didn't show up? I would.
Well, yeah, and it was part of the lunar. I think it's being sponsored. No, not. Put that a little further. No, it was part of the lunar cancellation email when they had about 30 titles that were canceled.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great.
So I'm like completely out of the loop. I knew nothing about this.
Yeah, like they canceled most of the Vault stuff, most of the Z2 stuff, pretty much all of the Black Mask stuff, bunch of the Image stuff. There's no excuses. They just said because it's late, but everything's late.
So they're saying because
thank you very much. God, you're bad at setups. You're so bad.
I am bad. So they're saying that the books were late getting to the distributor.
Apparently, I don't know. And they just said they were late. Which, I mean, well, if we weren't dealing with 3 different distributors, perhaps we could get our ducks in a row here and have a schedule again.
Right.
I
mean, I think we walk a fine line there because competition is always a good thing.
Yes,
but they're creating, instead of creating competition, they're creating mini monopolies.
Yeah, tiny little monopolies all over the place. Yeah. And I think what they need to do, a responsibility I think of the publishers, which is really important, is you update those release dates every single week on your website. And because there are people looking for things that are supposed to come out 3 or 4 weeks ago, that haven't come out. And because on Marvel it says, oh, such and such is out, or on DC it says, oh, blah, 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 and it's not even coming out, it's canceled, or, whatever the case may be.
Well, and I would just assume, being more of a layman on that part, I mean, as a consumer, I don't go to the Marvel website to see what they say is supposed to be out. I don't even pay attention to that.
Tons of people
watch
do.
Bueller. I come into the
do
shop. I would have to say a majority of us get that information elsewhere.
A majority of the people in your circle, but with the amount of people that I get coming in here, there are tons of people every single week that are like, well, this website said it was supposed to be out. Well, the website said it was supposed to be out. Well, the website said it was supposed to be out.
I mean, and I would think that would be, top priority. That would keep your fans informed of what's going on.
You sure would think that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. But they don't. They don't say anything about it. They don't update anything. And again, I think that part of the problem with that is so many of them are run by movie companies, telecommunications companies, investments. companies, all this kind of stuff, right? Their last priority is comics. Like their first priority is to make movies and video games and TV shows out of those comics. The last priority is them getting comics out. And or getting information about that or anything.
Right.
And so much of the stuff, like people will ask me, "Oh, is this a miniseries?" I'm like, "I don't know. I have no idea." And the information that's being sent out, DC prime example right here, this Joker Year One that they're
right,
advertising. They're advertising Joker Year One. They're not advertising Batman 143 or whatever it's in. They're advertising Joker Year One. So people think that's a separate series.
right,
And they say it's coming out, after the new year, in the new year. It's coming out in 2024, early 2024. But people don't know when it's coming out. So I had people calling up. I had another person call yesterday, and say, "Hey, when does Joker Year One come out?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm not sure. The new Batman just came out this week, so it's going to be at least another month." And they're like, No, not Batman, the Joker Year One. I'm like, "No, that is a story in Batman."
right.
They need to start pushing these things correctly because there's so much confusion with what they're doing already. This is just making it worse. It's just making it more confusing for people and more difficult, to get people into comics. People are going to come in.
Right.
They don't know what to do.
Well, I wonder, it makes me wonder if maybe they don't look at, and maybe the comic collectors aren't a large enough audience to really affect these giant corporations.
Well, but I think if they did it right, they would be. If they put some care into it, and if they nurtured it and paid attention to it, then they would be. If they, I'd say X-Filed it. When the X-Files came on, it was getting crappy ratings. Fox was a tiny station, didn't have hardly any original stuff. They were doing reruns of all kinds of stuff. They let it go. The ratings were not high. Nobody cared about it. Ratings got a little bit higher. Then the second season ratings got a little higher. Then the third season ratings got big. And then all of a sudden it was a big show. It took a couple of years, a couple of seasons to
Right.
get its feet underneath. But, if they X-Filed the comic book readers and collectors, and they just nurtured it and said, "You know what? Here, man, we're gonna start small. And we're gonna scale this stuff back. We're gonna, change some things around here. We're gonna scale it back. We're gonna make sure that the communication's there. We're gonna make sure that the cover prices are affordable for people. We're gonna make sure that they're not confused with covers. We're gonna put, I don't know, the title and the price on the cover."
Right.
And also the
right.
character that's in the book. Man, if they would scale it down and then do that nurturing,
Right.
I really feel like it would be a big enough
I do
piece
feel
of all that. Because, look at the 90s, man.
Right.
Everybody wanted a piece of comic companies then. Everybody wanted it because they were selling so much and they were making millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars a week. They were making tons of money a week in the 90s. And yeah, you can't do the same thing they did in the 90s, which is kind of what they're doing now.
right.
Because there's not the audience for that.
I mean, they're going
Right.
to put out foils now.
I'm actually looking at the Batman right now. It's shining in the
Yeah,
light. It's
yeah.
a foil. But it's like, I really feel if they would just get back to the core. It sounds dumb, but back to the core mission of these comics,
Right.
And really do something about it. And I truly feel that this, like, they could be right back where they need to be again.
Well, I mean, there's a reason, like, Heisman was the greatest coach of all time. Get back to the basics.
Who?
Yeah. But you got to, and
Heisenberg? What did you say?
Heisenberg. Heisman.
He's the greatest meth cooker
Yeah.
of all time.
Of all time.
Yeah.
Say my name.
Science bitch.
But yeah,
All right.
it's
I
very
said your name.
it's very cyclical.
Mhm.
Like we saw it in the early 80s and a crash, and then they had to build up, and then
Yep.
90s
Yep.
crash and they had to build up, and
Mhm.
and I remember when we first started this, probably in the first dozen episodes that we did, we talked about the crash, and we were both like, a crash is going to be good. That's what we need to kind of reset and get us moving forward again.
To an extent, yes.
I mean, it's hard to kind of deal with the heartaches that go along with a crash and see your collection plummet in value, and
But that's the thing, is I
that
don't
type of
care
thing.
about what the value of my collection
Right.
is.
Right. But you, I mean, for you, you're financially tied to the ups and downs of the industry because you're a shop owner.
Yeah. But
a lot more so than us collectors. I mean, my collection bottoms out and goes down to $10 in value. It's going to go up again. I'm not out anything but storing way too many books.
Yeah,
but it hits rock bottom like that for you, and
but that's the thing though, is because I use Overstreet, it doesn't hit rock bottom.
Right. I mean, that's one thing that
You
you've
know,
done
those-
to really insulate yourself.
Those prices stay.
Yeah.
And if something's $4, it's $4. It's not like, if the movie doesn't come out, it goes down to 10 cents.
Right.
It's $4. It's a $4 book.
And there's a real difference in the hustle too. I've got friends that run comic shops that are tied to fair market value,
Which
and
is
eBay
completely
prices
unfair. I call it unfair market value because
and
it's not fair.
And over the long haul, and I mentioned this before, Travis Bueller has done videos on the difference between fair market value and overstreet pricing. And long term, there is no difference. There really isn't, because something may come on this book right here. Like, I'm buying this at cover price, right?
You're buying a new phone too, it appears.
Apparently, but I'm buying this one at cover price. Fair market value on that's $30 right now.
Stupid.
That's
That's unfair. There's nothing fair about that market value,
and it's not sustainable.
Yeah, it's not. That's not going to stay there. That's just not isn't going to happen.
But I do wonder.
It's it's a $4 book.
Yeah,
it came out a month ago,
and it's what I hear. I haven't read it yet, but I hear it's a great $4 book. But
that doesn't make it a $30 book just because it's good.
I don't even know why. Honestly, don't even know why it's a $30 book.
Well, I think it's the gimmick of it. I haven't read it yet. I've got them at home. I haven't read them yet. But I think it's the gimmick of, not saying that it's not a good book, but it's the gimmick of it's this kid's book. Looks like a kid's book, but it's like super dark and super crazy and blah blah blah. You know what I mean?
Not a new gimmick either.
Not a new gimmick, but I think it's one of those things where it hit just at the right time. Like Stray Dogs hit just at the right time. Now it's dead. Now it's dead as dead.
Right.
No, then I cannot move my back issues.
Really?
Yeah. But it hit just at the right time. And it's a lot of that stuff. And you look at movies, you look at music, you look at any of this stuff. And it's all about accidental timing.
Right. Oh yeah, you can't manufacture a viral anything.
No, they try.
Right.
You hear that bad idea?
And honestly, like Stray Dogs is a perfect example. That book would not have done what it did if it weren't for that Blair Witch cover. That's what sent that one over the edge. And that was,
and I think that's
100% Tony's vision. Like his vision for the book was represented in that piece of art, and that's what really made it take off. And
I think it's weird that would set a book on fire. Just one cover, like Spider-Man, the web cover.
Yeah. But it didn't. Like, that web cover didn't.
It did.
No,
it did.
Are you talking about Spider-Man #1? Or
No. The Amazing Spider-Man, the 36 with the Stegman, the web thing. And, but but then again, he just did the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. It's like, look, it's a Carnage web cover. Look, it's a Venom web cover, and it's like, yeah, okay, great, whatever.
No, and that's what they did with Stray Dogs. They had one great cover,
and then they did it to death.
And I talk about that, and we talk about that. We're both fans of Stray Dogs.
Love it. It's a great book.
It is a great book.
Yeah.
So it's worth buying at whatever it's at now, $4 or $5 a book to read for sure. Pick up.
I mean, it's
graphic
up.
novel.
It's up to 10 or 15 for the first couple.
Yeah.
And then everything after that's $4.
And I think
$5.
that's reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, I like some of the homage covers. I mean, I had to have the Rocky Horror Picture Show cover. I had to have that one. The Dracula cover. I had to have.
Oh yeah. I mean, I like the covers.
And
Yeah,
the new
and
book,
I'm not saying anything negative about the book at all. It was a great book.
Right.
It was a lot of
Fantastic
fun.
book.
Really well written. Really well drawn.
Right.
Big surprise. And I think one of the reasons that hit so hard again, is because of that unexpected. People worked on My Little Pony are doing a serial killer story,
And it was extremely fresh.
It was.
The concept,
Yeah.
which the new book is the same. Like it's a different thing altogether. It's not the.
I don't think it's going to
passive.
be that lightning in a bottle thing, though.
I think it is.
Really?
I could see it.
Hmm.
Knowing what the book's about and
Okay,
getting the previews and
fair.
like he did a fantastic job with it. He really did.
No.
And it's nothing at all like Stray Dogs.
Well, and I hope it is huge, because I mean, it's there's too many books that are really good that don't sell well.
right.
I mean, and then there's a lot of books that are, in my opinion, only,
Right.
that sell super well. Like, I think the Spider-Verse stuff is so played out. I'm so tired of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you get 300 Spider-Man characters, then who cares about the one that you're supposed to care about, right? I mean, and it's all like the same stuff.
Like honestly, I love Miles. I think Miles he's the Spider-Man for this generation and should be.
Well, I think,
But it's getting boring. He needs to get his feet on the ground in Brooklyn, or where does he live? Brooklyn? Like he needs to be friendly neighborhood
he
Spider-Man.
doesn't live anywhere. Eric. He's not real.
I don't know what you're
I
saying.
ruined that whole thing. I'm sorry. No, I think, but as far as the Spider-Man stuff, I think Spider-Gwen, okay, just stop. No more.
Yeah.
Spider-Punk, Spider-Boy, Spider-Rex, literally, Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Man 2099, Spider this, Spider everything. It's too much.
I mean, it's almost as big as the X-Men universe.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think they just need to get rid of this stuff and just stop it. They need to put Spider-Man 2099 back in the year 2099, keep them there.
Right.
Have a different writer. Sorry, I'm not saying anything about that anyway. And it's like, and yeah, get rid of Gwen, get rid of all this stuff. Quit bringing back all of these different Spider characters.
Right.
And if you're going to have Miles Morales be in the 616 universe, and I love Peter Parker, that's my Spider-Man.
Right.
But if you're going to have him be in the 616 universe and be Spider-Man, kill off Peter Parker and keep him dead. Either that or have him retire,
I don't think you can
And
kill
how-
off Peter Parker. I don't think
you can.
I don't think you can kill off Peter Parker, Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent, any of them.
But let me tell you something. If they did that, do you realize how much more enjoyable comics would be
I agree.
if
But
you killed off
can't.
Peter Parker?
Because Peter Parker's the
You
only Spider-Man that 75% of the world is ever going to associate with. Because they've never watched a cartoon. They don't have the I don't want to make it sound like I'm being elitist, but they don't have the imagination that it takes to watch a cartoon in a believable way to make Miles a Spider-Man.
Right, yeah.
So
No, I get
because of that, you'll never be able to get rid of Peter Parker because they need him for movies, they need him for TV shows.
But you
they
can
need
just
him for
bring Miles
all
in,
that.
replace him. Bring him
You
in.
can't because those people are going to be
Because
like,
all of a
well, who the
sudden-
hell's that?
But all of a sudden, oh my God, there's stakes. Anything could happen.
I agree. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem with the nobody dies part of it.
Right. All right.
Because,
Give me 1 second.
all right,
Go ahead. Just riff.
just riff.
Scat.
All right.
Scat, like words, not Scott.
So I do want to mention Paige is in the chat right now. Paige Alfred, creator of Blowtorch. He's got a new book out, Blowtorch Bad Roads. And for those of you that read the first series, Blowtorch, great character, but he's got some new characters coming in that play off of each other extremely well. Very well written. The artwork's very noir adjacent, so modern black and white type stuff. Very cool. He is doing fantastic stuff over there. Also, a lot of people have been wanting to know, and I took my time addressing it, and I'll talk with Greg when he gets back, but want to kind of talk about the happenings with the CGC controversy and reholdering of books and that kind of stuff. As you all know, not a huge fan, but we can get into that. I did want to say, moving forward, we are going to be kind of moving beyond just comic books. I know we got a great wealth of knowledge, and we're glad to talk about comics. But with where the market's at, kind of looking at changing that up a little bit, maybe talk a little bit about some of the ancillary type productions, the movies and TV series, things like that play into it as well. And Greg hobbling around. Also, for our Utah viewers, Greg is doing a sale month of January.
Hey, that's me. I'm from Utah.
Ow. Yeah. So half off back issues and graphic
novels.
So,
and I just got a ton of stuff. Look at this, man! Just pulled it out. Look at that, man!
That is a very cool book. That is a very cool book.
That's a great book. And it's in pretty good condition too.
Yeah, just got a new.
You guys see all this? Okay, good.
Looks like early to mid Bronze Age collection.
Yep.
So
and a bunch of silver stuff, but the silver stuff's pretty much gone.
You got a Fantastic Four 16?
8.
Oh, Fantastic Four 8 up on the wall.
First Puppet Master.
Yeah, very cool.
Looking like he should not be allowed within 3 miles of a park on that because he looked creepy and not okay when they first came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some Spider-Mans. Well, Spider-Man's already gone.
Yeah.
They didn't even hit the bins, man.
Well, you've got Spider-Man, Web of.
Yeah, Web, Spectacular, Spider-Woman 1 over there.
Spider-Woman number 1, I saw that.
Okay, X-Men stuff.
Peter Parker, which is my preferred Spider-Man series. I like Peter Parker.
Yeah.
I like Spectacular more than Amazing.
And Spectacular's really good. Amazing went off on a lot of tangents that maybe it shouldn't have.
Yeah.
I like the Web of Spider-Man stuff because it was zero stakes, totally dumb. A lot of it was ridiculous, but still fun.
Right.
That was like the fun one. Amazing Spider-Man was the core one, and Spectacular Spider-Man, in a lot of ways, had the best stories.
I think so because Spectacular was always about Peter Parker. It wasn't about Spider-Man as much as it was Peter Parker.
And the Jan DeMatteis stuff.
Yeah,
that was so good. Sal Buscema's art was not the best.
Right.
Very square heads and, weird stuff, But at the same time, though, it was classic stuff.
Right.
It was dependable. You knew what you were going to get. You knew when you were going to get it. You knew it was going to come out every 4 weeks. You know what I mean? You know it's coming out.
Yeah, I think what made Amazing blow up the way it did is like that's the one that was the first one. So being the first Spider-Man series, that's the one everybody. Oh, that's got to be worth more money.
I mean, that's the original series plus most of the big characters,
right?
In the Spider-Man universe have been introduced in Amazing because it is the flagship,
right? And it's funny that the Batman and even the Superman titles ran just the opposite of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Detective, which I think has always been the better series, I think consistently over the years, Detective's been better than Batman. They've
been fairly equal. But in the last, I would say, decade or so, I'd say Detective's better.
Well, and DC did things a bit different. So they would really meshed the two together a lot more, especially through the 80s and early to mid 90s.
You want some vodka and Gatorade?
No, I'm
Okay.
good. But they would kind of go back and forth between the two series, whereas Spider-Man, they were related, but what was happening in Amazing wasn't necessarily going to affect what was happening in Spectacular.
Yeah.
And vice
Yeah.
versa. And Spider-Man, McFarlane Spider-Man, when that came out, completely different.
Yeah.
Altogether.
Yep. And that made everything, darker, and that was the dark, gritty,
Yeah.
90s, which you can't say 90s without going when you talk about that stuff.
I think they did some good stuff in that Spider-Man
Oh,
series.
they totally did, yeah.
I really like. I think Torment is probably one of the best visual, one of the best examples of visual storytelling in comics.
Yeah,
for sure.
The writing was, but I think McFarlane is a better writer through his art than he is through his words.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Ooh, that was deep.
Yeah,
I like that. That's good. You have to use that for everything. How are you doing? I'm a better writer through my art than my words.
Yeah.
How are you today?
Okay, so I don't know if you have heard or if you know everything's going on, but a bunch of people have been asking for me to weigh in on what's going on with CGC and the reholdering and all that. Do you know what's going on there?
I don't know about it. What are they doing now?
So
now what's going on?
A customer
Mm-hmm.
was able to crack the slab of a CGC Blue Label 9.8 and replace it with a lower grade qualified book, and then sent it in, said, "This slab's broke. Please reholder it." They reholdered it, gave it the same blue label
Oh, no.
in a 9.8.
Oh, no.
And then sold it for thousands of dollars on eBay. And it affected a few hundred books, like hundreds of books. And last I saw, it was well over $500,000 worth of books. And CGC has come out and addressed the issue, saying that they're aware of what's going on. They are looking at their processes to see if there's anything they could have done to prevent it, what they can do to prevent it going forward. I haven't seen personally, but other people are telling me that they have even gone as far as to say that they would compensate people that have spent money on these books, whether that's, writing them a check or giving them credit at CGC or whatever.
No, it'll be credit.
Which, in my opinion, CGC is a victim here. I don't really feel that. When somebody sends a book in to be reholdered because of a broken holder, and they do that I don't think they should be cutting bladders and regrading and all this type of stuff.
Well, cutting bladders, they're surgeons. Jesus, man. I don't think they should cut anyone's bladder out either.
They probably should. I don't think that's a reasonable expectation, or hasn't been. Now, obviously, it probably should be.
Yeah. Well, I would say, I don't know if they're the victims, but I would say that, I don't know. I would say it depends on what those books looked like. If they were obviously not a 9.8,
right,
then they have no business putting it in that holder in the first place. And what is a 9.8? There's no difference between a 9.8 and a 9.6 and a 9.4 and a 9.2.
Right.
And there's no such thing as a 10.
Right.
It doesn't exist. There's not a perfect book out there. And I'm sorry, there's just not.
Right.
I think that's done some things that are not great, by doing this 9.4, 9.6, 9.8, 9, whatever, because Overstreet's highest grade is a 9.2. That's a near mint minus. And that's the way it should be, because even the things that come in brand new are near mint minus at best.
So Chris Hoffman, another
Good Lord, I don't know what that was.
another Utah creator that we love dearly, Mr. Chris Hoffman, says that they've released a list and a way to file a claim on the CGC site. As of right now, 350 books affected on the list. I mean, I guess that would be fairly easy for them to track. 'Cause they were all from the same person.
that seems. Now you say it's a customer, like somebody we know.
No,
Oh, a CGC customer.
a CGC.
I thought you meant
yeah,
like
it's
a
not
customer.
one. It's not
Okay,
one
all
of
right.
our guys.
I'm like, whoa, wait a
Not
minute.
one of our guys.
Gotta keep an eye out for that then.
But yeah, pretty.
Was it
shady.
Chris? Was it Chris Hoffman? Is that how he knows all these numbers?
He pulled them out pretty quickly.
You really did.
What's going on
Like
over there, Chris?
look, I sent 300, and here's a list of them if you need them.
And they were huge books too. I mean, they're some early ASM.
Then you know what, man? They should have noticed that. Like, if they're a grading company, they need to notice that. If that's your business and that's what you're doing, then
ASM 194, 238, and 300. Of course, 300 being the blue chip there. That's a big deal.
238's a bigger book, I think. Should be.
Should be. But 300 is definitely a blue chip.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, it's insane. But I do think, and Lord knows I'm not a CGC fan. I don't do slab books, and I'm not a great fan of giving all of our power over to a corporation like that as collectors.
Yeah.
But I really don't think. I think that they've done reasonable due diligence before this, and they are promising to do more after this, and apparently stepping up to take care of customers. So,
well, and that's good. I mean, I think it's the same thing as a lot of stuff that happens, though. They got so big and they tried to do everything all at once, and you can't do it.
right.
That's the stuff I'm saying about going back to the beginning here about Lunar, about Random House, about
Right.
These other companies. They don't have the infrastructure set up. And we all know that CGC has lost books. CGC has misgraded books. CGC has damaged books and put them in there anyway. I mean, I've seen CGC books that are, 9.0 and 9.8, and there's no difference.
Yeah.
And there's no notes on them. There's just no difference, So, yeah.
Yeah. But I do think that they're kind of stepping up to the plate, and I do appreciate that.
Good.
For sure.
Because they need more quality control, and they need to, do this kind of stuff.
Transparency, I think, is the one thing that CGC lacks the most. Transparency and self accountability.
Yeah.
Like they don't say we made a mistake,
Right. Yeah.
even when they know they made a mistake.
Yeah. They
They're
say,
not
well,
gonna
it
say,
must
"We
have been
made
like that when I sent it
Yeah.
in or something. It's like, then why did you grade it a 9.6 with a damaged corner?
Right.
Well, it wasn't us. Well, who put it in there? I'd like to know who put it in there, President Trump. Or sorry, was it me?
And it is possible. I mean, it seems that there's been some forward motion, some positive things happening with CGC since the Blackstone investment. So hopefully that integrity from Blackstone will carry over, and we can see better things from them in the future.
That always sounds like Blackstone.
Yeah. But I do think, at any rate, we should never give any grading company, any third-party grading company, that much control over our hobby.
You should not.
Like, they should not be worth a CGC 9.8 to me should never be worth.
Sorry.
A CGC 9.8 to me should never be worth more than a grade gauge 9.8.
Which I don't do.
I know. But if you did, I would.
But if I did,
I would.
it's just not the
personally,
person.
I would value your opinion more than some person I've never met. And they may have fantastic graders over there that know their stuff, but I don't know them. Like, I hang out with you, so like.
Well, and I do have a guy that brings short boxes in, of his stuff. Like, he'll go out on the road, he buys tons of stuff from me, and good, cool, great. I don't care if he goes someplace else. Not, I'm not like, don't hear, but he'll go out on the road, on a business trip, and he'll grab, he'll buy, 500-600 books that he needs, and he'll bring to me. Here, will you grade these? Because I trust your grade, I don't trust theirs. then I regrade them, and then he
Right.
pays me. So
I mean, I do a lot of regrading for people too. I do a lot of pre-screening for people,
Mhm.
and it's sad that I've gotten to the point where I know what grade and they're going to get from CGC and how to get that grade.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a little bit like manipulating the system, in my opinion.
totally is. Yep.
But that's what we've done. That's what the monster we've created.
That is very true. And it's here. So I guess no use bitching about it. We just got to deal with it.
Now I do have
With this, just like this other stuff, I mean, and I, try not to make it sound like I'm complaining about stuff. I'm just trying to explain.
right. Well, I
And
think it's really important, and we get called the two angry old dudes. Like I've been told that we're like a couple of old guys yelling at the youngsters and
Oh yeah,
and whatnot.
do that too.
And I'll own that
Sure,
because
that's right.
it is important that collectors know.
Mhm.
Like it's not you're getting frustrated with your shop in Timbuktu, wherever,
Mhm.
and down in Texas because they didn't get click click boom, and they didn't tell you why. Well, Greg just told you why. This
Yeah.
is why that shop down there didn't get their books, and
And again, I'm not. There's a difference between complain and explain.
right,
It's just like when I say, oh well, this is what's going on. People are like, well, that's no excuse. I'm like, it's not an excuse. It's an explanation. Those are different words. Those are different meanings. Those are different things. And yeah, I get super frustrated with this stuff sometimes, and I think everybody does. And so many shop owners, or now former shop owners, because so many people are going out right now.
yeah,
It is a bloodbath right now.
yeah, across the board, collectibles and
Yeah.
hobby shops across the board. We just lost Finders Keepers down in West Valley.
Oh yeah,
Like he closed up last Saturday. I just couldn't, and he didn't do a lot of comics. He had a few back issues. It was mostly sports cards, but
yeah.
It's unfortunate that one went away. He's a great guy and had a good thing going, but
Well, yeah, and it's really difficult to do, and you have to keep adjusting the way you do things.
right.
And Becky got really tired. Sing us a song. Or got really tired. You're quiet. I mean, sorry. Holla, holla, holla. There you go. That's beautiful. That was me. Anyway, it's it's really, really, really tough to do this stuff. And I think some of the other, some of the other things with that is it's like, people don't realize how difficult it is to get into this business.
Yeah.
And, the typical person that comes in here, and I'm not saying that's, an intelligence thing. I'm not saying it's an education thing. What I'm saying just very simply is there's so many ins and outs with this business, and being, especially now being a retailer, they shouldn't know this. There's no way to know it unless you do it.
It is very convoluted.
And I think a lot of people, get into this thinking, oh, this is cool. I love comics. Comics are great. Avengers made $2 billion. I'll make $1 billion. You don't do this for that. You do this to pay your bills, maybe save some money, and then one day not have to work. You're not doing it to get rich. You're doing it to try and do something that you like, make enough money to get by, enough money to do what you need to do. Save some money, eventually get out of it, retire, and live the rest of your life. Man. You're not going to live in a mansion in, Hawaii or Switzerland or in a chalet or anything. You're not going to do that. Not doing this.
Yeah. Let's see. Approximately 3,500 comic shops total in the country. Can't lose 2 million or the system collapses.
Yeah, it's about 1,000 less than there were.
Have you seen
4 or 5 years ago?
I'm assuming that you follow Chris on Instagram,
Never
Facebook,
met him.
anything like that. And for those of you
Yes,
that want to get some great insight as to, he does a lot of analytics
Mm-hmm.
about the comic industry and sales and trends and graphs and
He,
all
he
that kind of stuff.
studied a lot of that stuff too.
So if you're not following Chris Hoffman, go give him a follow. Just some great information that he puts out. If you want to learn more about what goes into the kind of the behind the scenes of the comic business, he's not just a fantastic creator, but he's
also a jerk. Not only are you a great creator, Chris, you're also a jerk.
So we
Takes
know
one to
who's
know one, man.
not going to be signing a Black Cat
Takes one to
anytime in
know
the near
one, baby.
future.
Nah, I've known Chris, ever since I opened the store.
Yeah.
Yeah, going on 20 years I've known him. Man. I get how Black Hat Comics you tell one of the best. Oh, that's really sweet. After I called you a jerk, you said that?
So,
no, Chris is a good guy. He's a great creator. He's a good guy. And yeah.
and so one thing that I am looking to do as we move forward in the new year is I've often said that we've had probably got one of the best comic communities here in Utah with creators and collectors and all that. I would love to have people like Chris come in and talk about the business, the ups and downs, and that part of it, and we can talk to the creators. So
yeah, let's not put him on the spot or anything. But Chris, are you going to do it or what?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Where are you? God, he's out in the parking lot. I can see him right now. Yeah, that would be. I would love to have Chris come on.
Get some insight from not just Chris, but all the other creators. We've had a couple of them on, and we've got a lot of flippers and spec buyers and people that can give us perspective on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's whether you embrace or agree with all the aspects of it. I think it's important to at least talk about it.
Yeah,
know what's behind it, know what it is, and understand it. Because if you don't listen to something, you can't understand it.
One thing that I do feel that we're real lucky in Utah is we've got the 3 shops. Actually, we've got a couple more in Salt Lake, but 3 that are comic shops that sell current issues and back issues and all that. And everybody, there's really not a lot of competition. Like
we're all so different.
And everybody gets along. We're all friends.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of opportunity for that type of collaboration as well, and get different viewpoints on that.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool because Roger and Charles do a lot of slab books and high-end CGC fair market type stuff, and it'd be cool to get that perspective too. But so we're going to try to work some of the local creators and those type of people in, some of the artists. I just discovered a new artist not too long ago that's working on some stuff, so
awesome.
Maybe get her to come in and show off some of her work too.
Cool.
That'd be cool. So kind of stuff. And if anybody, when you watch this, I know a lot of people watch this on Twitch and on the Rewind. If you there's something that you want us to talk about, shoot us a message. Let us know, and we'll throw it out there.
Yeah, we'll pick you up on the down low.
Pick you up on that.
I don't know. Oh yeah, I've heard really good stuff about that actually. Petrolhead.
Huh.
Yeah, it's on I think issue 2 right now.
Never heard of it.
Well, you have. We're just talking about it right now. Of course you've heard of it. God, you gotta sure remember.
I mean, people in Europe are shooting me messages. You should be reading this book.
See, there you go, man. God.
All right. So
all right.
Maybe
there you go.
Snag one. All right. So make sure that you tune in every Thursday, because I'm going to start showing up once in a while.
Good. That'd be awesome.
I know that we have not really been on top of it with sickness and holidays. And
I've been talking to myself for a half an hour every Thursday.
So every Thursday at 3:30, we will do this again next week. If you have any questions or comments, criticisms, anything you'd like us to discuss, leave it in the comments.
Not criticism, just boys.
If you're looking to get some back issues, Black Hat Comics half-price back issues through the month of January. Pick up those graphic novels.
Yep, we got so much stuff coming in. And Happy New Year to you, Chris.
Happy New Year, Chris.
Happy New Year
All
to
right.
everybody, not just Chris. I guess that was
No,
rude. That was rude to everyone else.
Chris
Only Chris.
the
Nobody
rest
else.
of you, hope you have a
Average New Year.
crap year.
Right on.
I hope you have another 2023.
Oh God!
What a hell of a year.
Oh my God! That was terrible.
All
Maybe
right.
we won't be back next week.
Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell
Ring.
so you'll
Ring.
get
Ring.
notified whenever we drop a new show.
There you go.
All right. See you later, traders.